You're listening to the Radio Wammo Breakfast, only on Kiwi.
Well, you might have heard of this outfit called Earthrace. It's that funny-looking boat that travels around the world, crusading around the world, I suppose, for green initiatives. They went around the world on biodiesel recently. Also a bit of controversy as well. I think the first attempt had a few hiccups along the way. But now they're going to do something completely different. So they're going whaling. Well, not really going whaling. They're actually they're going whaler hunting. They're off to join the Greenpeace and a few of the other boats that head down and hassle the Japanese as they do their whaling business in the Southern Ocean. Joining me is Pete Bethune from Earthrace. He's the man behind the whole project. Pete, g'day to you, and how you doing? Good to have you in the Kiwi studio.
G'day, mate. It's good to be here. Doing really good.
Yeah, let's look back. How did the whole Earthrace thing start? How did the boat come about?
For me, I worked for a number of years in the oil industry, and on leaving, there was this growing unease about dependence on fossil fuels, and so I just decided to do something about it, and the fuel that I believe will become a key part of the transport infrastructure in the future was biodiesel, so it became do something to promote biodiesel globally, and in the end we chose this very cool boat called Earthrace and set a new record.
Where did the boat come from?
It was built in Kumeu, just out of Auckland here.
New Zealand built boat?
Yeah, it's all New Zealand design, New Zealand built, and I guess these days about 50% of my crew are Kiwis, but that sort of varies.
Yeah. The boat was revolutionary in its design?
Yeah, it's the first tri-hull wave piercer ever built, and there's a number of boats under construction now that use a similar profile under the water. It remains the most aggressive wave-piercing boat ever built, and it's in the Guinness Book of Records as the boat designed to go the furthest underwater that is not a submarine.
Ah, really?
7 metres underwater, yeah. So, look, there's been a lot of interest in it from naval architects around the globe, and there's certainly quite a few versions of it being built, but none quite as extreme.
Yeah. But you guys were the pioneers with it. Now, the initial goal to, I guess, get some sort of publicity, I suppose, was to travel around the world the fastest. Now, your first attempt had a few hiccups, didn't it?
Yeah, the first attempt ended up being a nightmare, and the one that some people will remember, we collided with an unlit fishing skiff off the coast of Guatemala, and one of the fishermen died, and another one came, I reckon, within half an hour of dying in our boat as we administered saline and drugs and stuff.
Terrible tragedy.
Oh, yeah, and horrible as a skipper of a boat to be involved in something like that.
Did it feel at that stage everything was coming apart?
Oh, yep. Through that whole record attempt, that was the moment that I really started to question why we were doing it. We had a very difficult time for the crew, and we were impounded in a military base for 9 days under armed guard. But once we got in front of the court, the fact that the fishermen had no lights and they were asleep in international waters was attributed as the major cause of the accident.
Okay.
It doesn't, I'm still disappointed that it happened, but at least we were allowed to leave after that.
Now, that obviously put the whole around the world fastest time sort of thing on hold, I suppose, for a wee while.
Yeah, we lost 11 days with that, and we met the families of the fishermen just after the court case, and we proposed them that we would call the record attempt off, and they basically convinced us to carry on with it. And amazingly, we got 4/5 of the way round, still with a chance of getting the record, and had a huge number of more problems. Most of them kind of related back to the accident, which did a lot of internal damage to the boat as well.
Yeah, so there was equipment damage going on.
Yeah. There was, there's the long list of broken engine mount, smashed gearbox, bent drive shaft, broken P-brake, many things broken. Yeah. So we were behind the 8 ball thereafter. And in the end, it was a final laminate failure on the hull that caused us not to get the record. So we kind of took almost a year off, if you like, and made an attempt 1 year later. That was in May, June last year. And second time round, thankfully, we were successful. We beat the old record by over 2 weeks.
Which is huge.
Yeah. Pretty stoked.
Absolutely huge. Now, you're about to embark on a completely new project, and that is head down and hassle the Japanese whalers a little bit later on. Is that this year or next year?
We will be heading down early December. Down to Antarctica.
That's the whaling time, isn't it?
Yeah. What the whalers do is they go down January, early December, and they will stay through till March. And they're going in very close to Antarctica, where it's very rich waters down there. full of a lot of krill and plankton and stuff that the whales eat, and it's that they've got to get really close to the shelf there, so right in amongst the ice.
Yeah.
And I think early December we will be following them down.
Now, they've probably never seen anything like this boat down in those kind of waters down there. They've seen the Greenpeace boats, and they've seen also the Sea Shepherd boat as well. You guys are really small compared to those guys.
Yeah, look, we can't use the same tactics that the Steve Irwin vessel, the Sea Shepherd vessel Steve Irwin has used. Look, we'll try and actually ram the guys and really disrupt them that way. We're a little bit more like a mosquito, but we've got some real advantages. Earthrace is a fast boat, and they won't get away from us. So once we get on the tail of them, we can disrupt their operations the whole time.
That's one of the problems, isn't it? That the Sea Shepherd finds, and also Greenpeace finds, is that it's actually finding the whalers in the first place, and then actually keeping up with them. It can be a bit of an issue if their boat is faster.
Yeah, look, the whaling vessels are unbelievable. They do 23 knots, which for a big boat is really fast. And they're extremely manoeuvrable as well. And they kind of do that so that they can track these whales. Once they get onto a whale, the whale is dead. They don't get away unless there's a big pod of them and they only manage to secure one or two.
Yeah.
But, Earthrace is much quicker again. And it'll be the first time there's a vessel down there that is capable of maintaining a speed with those big whaling vessels.
How are you planning on disrupting things down there?
Look, mate, I can't give away tactics here and now, but the Japanese will probably end up listening to a YouTube thing later today. But trust me, I'm not going down there to throw stink bombs. We will get in amongst them and really stir things up, and they will find it extremely hard to go getting those whales aboard their vessel. But
so you're planning on getting between the harpoons and the whales?
Amongst other things, yeah. We've got about 10 different tactics we'll be taking down, and you just got to use whichever one you think is appropriate for the day and as opportunities present themselves. But, like I say, we will disrupt things down there and make life very difficult for them. And look, at the end of the day down there, they're making money. They get between $100,000 and $500,000 per fully grown minke whale. And if we can reduce the number of whales they're getting, and we can reduce the amount of money we're making, then the CEO in Japan will notice that, and then it becomes much harder for them to keep going down.
What's it like on board? This is a small vessel, and you're going to be in the Southern Ocean, big waves. The weather's going to be pretty wild at times. What's it like?
Yeah, it's a little bit of a cool one. It is a small boat inside. I'll have a crew of 6, which is really tiny inside that boat. Squished in amongst, and there's no secrets when you got 6 blokes living in tight confines like that. It'll be a brutal lifestyle down there, but the boat's fine with it. We've had it in 12-metre waves and 80-knot winds a few times.
I'm just looking at a picture now. You got a few bunks inside there. It does look awfully small.
Yeah, you got 4 bunks, so you run hot beds, so no one sort of has their own bed. You just jump in whichever one's available.
Right.
The thing that scares me the most is the ice. We're in the process of adding half a ton of Kevlar to the hull at the moment to toughen it up, but it doesn't make us ice proof. But if we do hit some ice, it'll help to kind of localise the damage a bit. But man, I've got the most fear about actually hitting a big piece of ice and doing some major damage, because then we're going to be limping back to Australia for repairs, and that'll be.
Are you going to be working with Greenpeace or Sea Shepherd?
Just to be clear, we are a Sea Shepherd vessel, and we will be working with them down there.
Okay. Now Sea Shepherds often get in the face of New Zealand and Australian governments, and they're not they're not happy with them being down there. Have you been in contact at all with the New Zealand government?
No, I haven't. I've had nothing to do with the New Zealand government, and never have. We do our own thing. The New Zealand government does some, they work with the International Whaling Commission, and they do lobby quite hard on the issue of whaling. But we've got our own gig to do. I think the Japanese need to feel pressure from many different avenues, and if the New Zealand government can exert some influence, well and good, and if we can make a financial impact on them down there, fantastic too. But sooner or later, the New Zealand government will probably get some pressure from Japan to make life difficult for us, but hopefully they'll see reason and realise that we're doing a good thing down there.
How are you planning on documenting this whole project?
We've just signed up with Whale Wars, which is a TV series on Animal Planet. So one of my crew places of 6 will be a dedicated cameraman, and the sound, we're just going to have to do our best we can with that. So there'll be ton of media and stuff on there. There'll be plenty of blogs, video blogs, radio blogs, and
you'll have all the gadgets down there to hook up to the internet.
I'm just busy sorting it. There's this new bit of hardware called a Iridium Open Port, which means I'll have almost live video coming off the boat.
Awesome.
Just busy getting a web camera in at the moment.
Cool. Yeah. So people will be able to see live streams from what's going on in there.
Log in and see what's happening down in Antarctica.
Basically, the most remote region on Earth. That'd be absolutely astounding. Well, Pete, thanks so much for coming into the Kiwi studio and telling us all about.
Hey, one thing you could do for me, I've got some crew arriving Monday. I need to get an apartment, hopefully in town or near town. If there's any listeners out there, Auckland City for 6 weeks starting Monday. If anyone's got a spare place that's vacant, give me a call or send an email to pete@earthrace.net. That'd be fantastic.
And go to earthrace.net for all the photos, videos, blogs, and everything that's happening Earthrace wise. Well, Pete, Bethune, thanks so much for coming on in.
Great to be here. Thanks, mate.